welcome along everybody. According to me, that's the top of the hour. So we'll start now, get through the preamble, and then we'll start on the webinar proper. So this particular webinar is Civil 3D and BIM Collaborate Pro workflows. We will start off just talking a little bit about A2K. We're now part of the Vin0 group of companies, and so we have basically a large number of resources we can draw on now if required. Locally, however, all of our techs from industry, as well as many of our salespeople, so that we can actually help you more effectively and directly with problems that you may be encountering in the day-to-day work you have to do. We've become a trusted advisor to many of the large companies throughout Australia and New Zealand. So this is a little bit about me. I started off as a council engineer or structural engineer before that, and now I've spent the last 15 years teaching and supporting the Autodesk civil products. What we want to look at today. So we're going to be doing taking a look at the workflows, and I sort of decided that I'd like to do this as a sort of a scenario-based demonstration. Won't be death by PowerPoint. I'd like to have a look at the things in the list here, which are, where you put your design files, how they're stored, where they go, assigning new users to particular projects so they can all work together, and assigning roles, and then start looking at the scenario role play that I'd like to have a look at. So what I'm thinking about is we'd start off with a project that is perhaps even is being run by the surveyor. It could be the surveyor's client we're doing something for, and they need the input of an engineer at some point. So the main project owner will be the surveyor, and the engineer will be a consultant that needs to work on the same job for them. We'll look at how to access all that cloud information, how you actually work with it through Civil 3D. And then we'll have another closer look at the parts of using a project that's been set up in the cloud on the BIM Collaborate platform. In terms of the project oversight, tracking of data, everything being kept permanently, and also working in the field potentially. So just to clarify, I guess, you might have seen this before. This group over here is the old BIM 360 design platform, which has now become the Collaborate platform. There's two parts. There's the BIM Collaborate, which is this group down through here, and the BIM Collaborate Pro now, which is this third column. Now the Collaborate Pro has these extra parts up the top, which are the part where Civil 3D in particular we're talking about can work on the cloud platform. So things like data shortcuts and XREFs and those sorts of things are all functioning correctly and properly when all those files are stored up on the cloud. Also the same things for Plant 3D and Revit. They are all in the Pro part of BIM Collaborate. Now, people that may only need the BIM Collaborate part, the lesser license, would be people that need to go in and do your model coordination, perhaps check up on the project. So perhaps managers or anybody else, in fact, that needs to go into the project, have a look at how it's going, but not necessarily or not need access to Revit or Civil 3D or Plant 3D to actually do the authoring of the project files, the project design files. If you don't have BIM Collaborate or Collaborate Pro, and you've got the AEC collection, you're probably only going to have this part, or you would only have this part here, the document management, which allows you to store all these files up on the BIM Collaborate platform, but you don't get access to all these other things that I'll be showing you today. You can still access and use those files up there, and other people can do the same if they're if you've allowed them into your project, but you won't get all these other functions that we're going to be going through shortly. So hopefully that's a bit of an explanation. Now this construction cloud is still under development. It's going to be a similar platform, I guess, to the BIM 360 or BIM Collaborate, but it will be related to once you've done your design and the actual construction of the projects. That's still being developed by Autodesk currently. All right, so hopefully that's a little bit of an explanation. Clear that. And next, how about a little demo? So let's go through to, where are we? I'm going to need this first. Copy that. Email address, because when you log in through your browser, this is using Firefox. I need my username. Now I'm going to have two users here. This first one I'll log in will be pretending I'm the surveyor here, whose project it is. They're managing the whole project. And sign in there. Now, as we go through, if you've got questions, please type them into the either the chat or the Q&A area in this web meeting, and hopefully we'll have time at the end to have a look at some of those. So this is the document management part of BIM Collaborate. There is a, oh, actually, before we get on to that, this is running through my browser. There's nothing to install on, well, there's just about nothing to install on your machine. If you're using Civil 3D, there will be a little duplicated or extra few folders put on your system, which is called, I forget what it's called, just a second. Which is called, oops, where'd it go? This one here, this desktop connector, which connects your Civil 3D through and your machine through to the BIM 360, or the BIM Collaborate, I should call it now. Other than that, there is no IT overhead for this. Everything is up on the web, and it is looked after by Autodesk software as a service. Beyond that, there is infinite storage. There is no limit. There are a huge number of projects being done in the sort of architectural and structural space already on this platform. In the civil sphere, we're only really getting invited to it now in the last couple of years. But all of those things are continuing, and they just can store as much as they want up on here. If you've got the plain BIM 360 docs, same thing. Autodesk Docs, I should say, that's now called, through the AEC collection, same thing, you've got infinite storage. How they can do that, I guess they just build more storage if they're running out. But there is a file system that generally you should be using. BIM, sorry, I'll call it BIM Collaborate, is set up to use a file system like this. So work in progress here is all the different folders for the different services or different companies that are working in your project. So the architectural side of things, the civil engineering side of things, the survey side of things, they all go under work in progress. And these are the working folders. So if we have a look at the civil one, we've got civil drawings. You can, once inside these folders, you can make up any folder system you want. But the important part about this is every time you add a new folder under work in progress, that becomes a new team for this particular project. It does it automatically. So I've actually just added in the survey one. There wasn't one there, and it created a survey team automatically. And that's why, ideally, you want to stick with this type of folder structure. Or in fact, this folder structure. You've also got a coordination folder down here, which is when you do clash detections, you put your files into the coordination folder. Again, these can be under different disciplines. And these are the ones that will be clash detected, which we'll have a look at later on. But they go in the coordination folder, and that's all pre-set up. Now you can change that setup to your own folders, but this is sort of the fairly universally accepted structure. And along with the shared folders and published is when you've actually produced drawings to be consumed on site and archived, of course, archived. And also, it also means that it's a fairly universal way of doing it for anybody that's using BIM Collaborate. So if you invite somebody else to this project, they'll already understand how it works. So it kind of makes sense to keep this sort of system, especially as all these are pre-set up to work correctly in the background, as you'll see. Back to the civil one here, we've got all sorts of file types we can use. PDFs, we've got zip files, CSV files, docs, and plus all your drawings, AutoCAD drawings, Civil 3D drawings, data shortcuts that go with them. These ones I've constructed my own folder types in there for the XRFs, data shortcuts, sheet sets can go in there. All that stuff can be done in here, and I've just created those myself. It's these first level folders that are important. Talking about that, let's look at file types. So file types, supported files, what can you store? It is just a drag and drop system to get them up onto there if you are not saving drawings and things specifically to BIM Collaborate. It's just a drag and drop into that folder, and it'll go up there like any other any other file storage system across the web. So we've got all the standard AutoCAD, Autodesk file formats. We've got Clarta files. We got all the image file types. We've got we've got in here InfraWorks complete models, all sorts of stuff. However, probably more important is what doesn't it store, or your PDFs and things like that in your Word documents. What it doesn't store is these ones down the bottom here. Things like your exe files, executable files, those sorts of things that could potentially be used to corrupt the online system. So those, it won't let you store. However, that's really the only limit. I haven't, the normal project files, you're not going to be putting those sorts of things in there anyway. Okay. So what we probably also want to look at is that in each of these files, we can assign, click on this button here, permissions. So for any of these files and folders, we can say these people are allowed to see it. Now, Joe Engineer is the engineer I want to work with, and I've given him access to this folder. I can come into here and say, you know what, he's got full control at the moment, but I could do anything like upload only, view, download and upload full control, or perhaps only view only if I want to be able to see this folder but not actually do anything within it. So you can set all those on a user level. You can also set them on a role level. So we should probably go and have a look at what the roles are. So for any of those, you can set those, and those particular people that you give access to will only see the folders when they open up this project that they've been given access to. They won't see all the other folders, which makes it easy. If we're going to have a look at the users, that's under project admin here. So away from document management now, which is where you store your documents, we're going into the settings in the background. And we'll have a look at the members. And here's where you click up the top here, you go add, you can add somebody else, put in their email address. It will send them an invite. They respond to that invite and they become a part of the team here. And then you can just give them access to the particular parts. Do you want them to have access to this up here is project management? You can just click that on. Yes, that user can. No, that user can't. These ones I've made myself, or I am myself an admin for everything because I started this project, but also I've assigned a secondary admin, which is a good idea in case I get, hit by a bus on the way to work. We've got somebody else who can get in here and still run the project and give somebody else access as well. Roles I talked about. Here are the roles. So for each person that you invite, you can say this person is a BIM manager. This person here is one of these. At the moment, he's a civil engineer. And rather than assigning folders permissions by name, you can say everybody who's a civil engineer can see this folder. That's another way to work, and it's quite a good way of working too. Okay, so all of these people will need a license of BIM Collaborate, or at the very least, the Autodesk Docs to be able to see this project. It is possible in the settings in the background to make public links accessible. So you can actually, for each of these files that are in here, give it a 30-day public link. You do have to be careful with that because anybody with a link would be able to see it, I think. But it is possible if you want to, if somebody doesn't have a license and you want them to be able to see a particular, or get access to a particular file, you can turn that on and do that, but it's off by default. All right, so let's go back to the docs. Let's say I'm the surveyor and I want to start a survey drawing. Now, anything that I want to put up in here, let's see if I can just show you that. It's not going to let me with that thing in the background. You can just drag and drop files into here. So my work in progress under my survey folder, I've got some base data, and I just drag and drop in there an AutoCAD drawing from my survey controller and a CSV points file, whatever else we want. You can just drag and drop it into here. I just can't show you that at the moment with the PowerPoint in the background there, but anything that you want can go up there. From there, we can start up or have a look in Civil 3D. And in Civil 3D here, working in the normal way, start a drawing, start a new clean drawing, let's start a new one. Get rid of that one. Don't want to save it. And we can access the data that's up there. So if I use the insert command, don't want to insertion point, do want to explode it, click on the navigate to a drawing. And we've got Autodesk Docs here. That will take us into our BIM Collaborate folders. So now I need to go and find my project. Webcast project. Here's my project files. There's my work in progress folder. Into the survey folder. And there's my base data we were looking at a moment ago. So I'm going to insert the survey triangles drawing that's being stored up in there. Now, it doesn't have to be stored up in there, but ideally you would. It's the project's like you would set up a project file structure on your server, except your server is now in the cloud. So you ideally want to have all your base data up there as well, so it can be referenced later on and checked, and it's all kept in one place. So the survey's triangles drawing I'm going to use, going to open in the normal way. And I would insert it exactly the same as AutoCAD runs. There it is. There's my survey data going in, just the same as if I took it off my server. Those are 3D faces, so I can make a surface out of it, all the usual stuff. When I'm ready to save it, I can go save or save as. And again, I can tell it to go into Docs, into the webcast project, survey folder. I'm going to put it in there and I'll call it webcast survey. And go save there. Now, when I save it, it will take a little longer because it's having to write that up across the web. Now, there's this thing in here called the pending actions, and it shows me what it's actually doing. So it's syncing the file, then locking, and now it's doing a workspace sync. So it's once it's completed that, now it does have a lock so that nobody else will be able to open that file up from BIM Collaborate until I close it out of my Civil 3D. So it does have a lock there. So that will eventually clear. I'll be going a little slow because I'm doing the webcast at the same time. It's locked. Okay, so that's clear. So it should have, there we go. It should have saved it up there now. If I go back to here. And so you just work in the normal way. It's just being saved now on the BIM Collaborate site. I can close that. I'm not going to do any more on that. I'll save the changes as well. That'll do the coordinate back to there. But also, when you're working in the normal start page of Civil 3D or Revit or whatever you're using, there is a tab on the left here for Autodesk Docs, and that will take you into the projects, whatever project you're working on. And you can see all those same shared work in progress type folders. They're all there, and you can go and open a drawing out of there, for instance. So I was saying that, yes, on the start page of Civil 3D or Revit or Plant 3D, you can see all your Autodesk Docs, and you can go and open your drawings directly from here as well. So hopefully I'm back again now. Looks like the sound's going, so hopefully we're all good. And it looks like I'm running. Okay, so back to where we were in Autodesk Docs. We should, if we jump out of there for a minute, go back to the survey folder. Now see there's the webcast survey drawing, and it's been saved twice. So it has versioning in here, version 1 and version 2. We'll have a bit more of a look at that later on, but nothing gets lost. So the original save is here and the time it was done. That's just when I close the drawing. But if you want to, you can say, where are we, data source? Here, make current. So if you don't like version 2, and you can say, you know what, I want to go back to version 1, just make that current, but it still won't lose version 2. And the next one will be version 3. So it'll never, all of the data, pardon me, always gets saved. And that's part of the data or the project tracking that can be done at the end. Okay. And also if you delete things, it'll delete out of the project, but that also doesn't get lost. So nothing actually gets lost at all, infinite storage. All right, so here's the completed survey drawing. Let's say that the survey has finished that and they want to give it to the engineer to use. So what they would do is say, okay, well, we're now going to go to the design collaboration part out of the document management where all the document files are. We'll go to design collaboration, and this is where you can work with the other project companies or members and send data between each of them. So when that opens up, this little drop down at the top is initially closed up, but this is where you want to be looking. So I'm actually the surveyor at the moment, and I can say, well, I'm ready to send to the engineer or to whoever, or anybody who's in this project, in fact, a group of files. And we do that by hitting this little plus over on the right-hand side to create a new package to be released to everybody else. So we can choose which models we want to export. So we've got several there that we can choose from, but it's actually the completed survey drawing is the one I want to share. And at the same time, the reason why it's called a package, you can add additional documents. So if you feel like it, you can say, you know what, I want to put in my CSV file, a Word file for explanation, anything else you want. So that's base data if you want that to go out as well. Or any other drawings and things that you think are relevant that you want to have. So once you've got as much of that as you want, you can click on the Save button and it will bundle it up into a package. And when you're ready to share it, you click on the Share button on the other side here, on the right-hand side. We'll give it the name, we'll give it survey release to engineer. Package description with CSV data. They want that for some reason. So good. So we go share from that point. And once that gets done in this timeline up the top here, I'll click on there. This is the little symbol that says there's my survey release to engineer share that I've just made. This is a timeline all the way along here. It goes all the way back to the beginning of the project if you want. And I did the start of this hours ago. Oh, sorry, no, months ago. All right, so that's the survey side of things done. They would like the input of the engineer now. So let's log out of here as me. And we'll log back in as the engineer. This is logging in as Joe Engineer now. As I was saying before, Joe Engineer will only see in the document management the files that they've been given access to. Sorry, files, I should say folders. It's on a folder by folder basis. In this case, they can, Joe Engineer can actually see all of it. But what they might do is go to the project home if they're coming in here and see what's been done recently. And project home should tell us, again, it's going a little bit slow because I'm running the webcast. Give us an overview of the project, but also down here is design packages. There's a new design package released today. So maybe he wants to go and have a look at that. So we'll go into the design collaboration again. And we want to consume that package. So the way we do that is, again, bring down these drop downs at the top. I'm actually the engineer, so I'll be in the civil group. And over here, we can look at the last things that have been released. Here we go. These little symbols, they all have meaning. Oh, sorry, it's a surveyor that's just, there we go. It's a surveyor that released it. Here we go. All right. So if I click on that one, sorry, I was right the first time. So on the civil, there we go. I want to click on that one. Here we go. When I click on the one that's been released by the surveyor, that's right. I'm in the civil group, being the engineer. When I click on the one that's just been released, it has, you can have a look at it down the bottom here. You can compare it with previous versions of the same file if they've been released previously. Although this one hasn't. But when you're ready, you should be able to click on that and have a look at the actual file if you want. See what it is. all this running through my browser again. So it's the Large Model Explorer. And you can look at all sorts of Revit models and stuff all through your browser now. When I'm ready, I can go consume. This tells you about to consume the package, and anything that links to what was a previous version will be updated. We're going to consume it. And what happens is that if we go back to our document management now, it will have in the civil group, so I'll go into the work in progress, because now it's Joe Engineer we're talking about here on the top right. That's who's logged in. In the civil group here, there is, or it will create a consumed folder within that civil folder. Anything that has been consumed, should have gone, oh, here it is. It'll make a new folder there called survey, and there is the package that I just created. So it's taken that package and it's put it in, because I'm in the civil team, it's put it in the consume folder under a subfolder called survey, and there it is, and I can access it now and use it for whatever I want. So the civil engineer can go away and work on that, take that completed survey, do all the design work on it that they want to do. Perhaps if there's the surveyor might have had a go at it before and didn't get very far with it, so you can open up their drawings. So there's one here called Engineers Platform Design. Just the same as if well, back in Civil 3D. Let's go back into Civil 3D. If this was the engineer now, they can go into the work in progress, the civil, assuming the surveyor's had a go at it, they can say, okay, well, here's the, oh, here we go. Here's the one that the surveyor did. That's the one the engineers had a go at and fixed up. But let's say we'll have a look at the platform design that the surveyor did. We'll open that one up. Again, it takes a little longer to open up because you are going across the web. It's not a local server, but it's not bad. And here we have the surveyor's drawing, isn't it? Oh, this is the platform design drawing, yeah. And it had some broken references and all sorts of things, and the platform was in the wrong place. And so the designer can go into there, and they can again just once they've, the engineer, I should say, engineer designer, fix it all up and do a save, or save, actually do a save as probably, and again save it into the BIM 360 folders. Sorry, the BIM Collaborate folders, I need to call it that. And update them, in the normal way. Normal way of working in Civil 3D is completely the same. You're just saving them to, or possibly opening them from the BIM location. All right, I'm going to close that though. Save changes and back into BIM Collaborate. So we've now got the engineer's platform design. We can now, in theory, if you've only got the Autodesk Docs version, you don't have full Collaborate, you could, in theory, set up these things called reviews. Joe Engineer doesn't have any reviews because he's not given access to them. So I might actually change back to being the surveyor again now that Joe Engineer's done his work. And fixed up my drawing. And I'll go back to being me again, be the surveyor. It's that one. Okay, so these reviews, you do get this if you just have the, oh, I thought I had some set up in there. Oh, actually, no, it's not in there. That's not what I was thinking. It'll be under project admin, I think, and reviews. So I was looking in the wrong place. Pretty sure. Yeah, here. Okay, so essentially what they are as it says here, an approval workflow. So what you can do is say, do you want a one-step approval, two-step? So this would go to one person, they'd approve it, and it would take all those files and folders and put them somewhere else, or through two people. You could, in theory, make one of those. So I got one-step approval. And go next, and you choose who's going to approve it and those sorts of things. And then it will take the files that you've sent to that person and put them in a different folder. You might be able to do something like that to take the folders through to the consumed folders, like we saw BIM Collaborate do for us just before. It would be messy, but it may be possible. Certainly a lot more messy than just using the BIM Collaborate side of things. However, let's go back to our coordination thing. So we've consumed, sorry, that was just a little aside there, just something I was thinking of. We've consumed the folders by the engineer. The engineer's fixed up his drawings, and he would make another package to send back to the surveyor and say, here's my finished design. Off you go and have a look at that. And then you can start looking at that in relation to all the other works that are on site as well. So the way we do that is to go into the model coordination. Now, this is any of the models that have been put into the coordination folder. And again, you could do a review potentially to do that. So it might need to go to your manager before that happens. That's the, oh, I see what the issue is. I'm in the wrong project. All right, that's going to make a difference. You do have to be a little bit careful about that. So here's the model coordination, right? So these are at the moment in those coordination folders back in the folder structure. There is an engineer's platform design drawing that we were, that's the engineer that's done that, and it was last updated on that date. And we're going to compare it against the structural engineer's design. And we can compare those together. We can you can have multiple different ones in here. We've just got two at the moment. In the clashes tab here, it'll bring up a matrix for the clashes it finds between as many models as are loaded in that in those folders. And we can click on one of these cells in the matrix to go and have a look at those particular clashes that it's found. Now, this is a 360 view, 360-degree view. That allows us to, or a 3D view, in fact, that allows us to look at all our models here together at the same time, and it will highlight particular clashes that it's found. So you can actually go across to the left here, find individual clashes. So there's two in that model, which is our cube structural base, and also the pressure pipe is clashing. That's from the engineer's drawing, and there's another clash there as well. So for these, we can say, you know what, that's okay, because I know we're casting conduit into that piece of beam, and that's what the pipe's supposed to be going into. So I'm happy with that one. So I can tick that on here and say, you know what, that's not an issue, and it will be ignored. And we can put a reason, valid penetration, comments taken into account. Now, all this stuff is being recorded in the project. So go, okay. So that is now classed as not an issue. There is now only two clashes, not three. These ones here we can combine together, and we can say, well, that is an issue, so we're going to have to create an issue for it. So I'll go create an issue. So it's a clash type issue. It is open. The title, I can, where are we? Oh, I need to place a pin, do I? Work. Get it to place it. There we go. Okay, so you need to place one of these pins, then you can start changing this stuff. So what's the status is open. Okay, and not two other objects, two beams. Now we assign it to somebody. This person's the person that's in charge of looking after it. Well, it was Joe Engineer, actually. Joe Engineer, it's his pipe that needs to be moved. So I'm going to assign it to Joe Engineer. Choose due date. I want it fixed by next week. Location. Oh, if you've got location set up in your project, that'll show up there. The owner is me. I made this particular thing. Root cause, design coordination problem. There's a bit of a description of what's clashing, and this radius too small. Etc. All that information that you want. You can actually, that's good. Set all that stuff. You can go create, and it will actually send an email out to Joe Engineer. And that will be requiring Joe to go and have a look at it. Now, so here's our 3D model here. You can see everything. There's that one's okay. It's going under. If you're assuming you can, I'll want it under the slab. But everything gets checked in 3D space and the clashes just by putting them into those coordination folders. We have a list of the issues here. So any issues raised should show the one we just did. Here it is, and we can click on that and go and find it, and that's the information around it. So Joe can do the same thing. Come into here, click on the issues, that's where it is. In fact, in the email that Joe gets sent, it will have a link, and he clicks on the link, it'll have to take him straight to here. So all this is built into the whole system. It's all there ready to go and to be used. All right. Next thing we want to look at, what are we looking at here? Project oversight. Yeah, so this is all, bread and butter for the people actually working on the project. But as we're looking back at Project Home here, for anybody who does not have the full BIM Collaborate Pro, but has got BIM Collaborate, somebody who would be perhaps a manager or somebody that is not working directly on the project, but is actually the lead engineer perhaps, or lead surveyor, would want to come in here and have a bit of a look at the drawings and the files that are up in the project. So once this, sorry, it's just going slow again because I'm running both this and the webcast at the same time. To go back to the Project Home dashboard that we looked at before, you can see the design issues here, once that finishes coming up, that have been raised. And there should be project issues. These are ones that I've put in before. And we have, sorry, I'm just looking for one. Hasn't come up yet. View all 10. Oh, these are not clash. No, yeah, that's the difference. These are not clash ones. These are ones you can actually put issues on any drawing that you open up. You just place a pin and you do exactly the same as what we showed you here. There are actually RFIs as well, which are just a little bit more detailed than the issues, which allows, it would normally go through a manager first. Manager would go find the person that's best to answer that RFI. However, all of these, we can actually say, you know what, I'd like to go and have a and I happen to know where this guy called, hopefully that's my connection just said it was unstable again, so hopefully it's still going. This guy called Dean Peterson, he's terrible. He's not answering all his issues. And if I want to see what the actual issue was, I can just go and click on this link here and it'll actually bring it up for me. What the problem was, what the description was, who it's assigned to, who it came from, all that information is in here, and it's currently open. I can actually click on this, View and Document Management, and it will actually take me to where that is, or the actual drawing that the issue was put in. Just take a second to come up. So it's all accessible through that dashboard. Drill down into it. I know we missed out a bit in the middle there, but just with time, but we're just about through all of this. But while that's coming up, let's talk about in the field. What of this can you do in the field? Well, you can do everything that I've just showed you, except for the use of Civil 3D or Revit on your tablet. All of this could be running through a browser on your tablet in the field as you're walking around. You can even be taking photographs of these issues and putting those in with the issue while you're out in the field. That's not what I was trying to get to. Okay, so close it off. So everything that you're seeing here could be done on a tablet in the field, connected to the internet. And I believe there's parts of it, at least, that you can actually download on the tablet if you are not connected to the internet. And when you get back to the office, it will update. So there's a whole lot of capacity here for doing all sorts of, or for running a whole project. And even more than that is the fact that with the versioning, all of your drawings are kept, everything is kept, there's nothing ever lost. But if we're going to have a look at this, where are we? Well, there's an audit trail. So if we go into project admin as the administrator, which I am, to services and document management, which is here. And again, all this can be done in the field too. It's all just running through a browser. Here, look at this. I viewed that issue. I created the issue somewhere. I added issue 16, and then it also recorded that I had a look at it later on. So if Joe Engineer comes to me and says, look, I know nothing about that issue, I never looked at it, wrong, you can go back and see that Joe Engineer, back here, let's go to the previous 7 days. Here we go, viewed issue, whatever issue 14 was. And you can actually click on that link, it'll take you to issue 14, you can see what it was, but you can see definitely looked at it, at least had it open, and so was hopefully aware of it at that time on that day. And everything's being recorded, it doesn't get deleted, it gets kept in perpetuity, so that for the purposes of coming up with an audit or auditing a project, no, nothing's lost. Absolutely nothing is lost. Everything is kept. And finally, there's an insight thing here, which gives you a little bit more than the project home. Well, it's not more, but it's different. End of what I wanted to get through here, this scenario. Similar to the home dashboard, except now we've got more of a graphical representation of what's been going on over time, the number of issues. This should come up soon, hopefully. There we go. Issues over time, when they were closed, what ones are open, coordination issue is open here currently, etc. more to the point from this, so it's design issue trends and things like that, graphs of approval reviews. I haven't done many reviews on this particular project, but they'd all show up in here graphically over time. But more importantly, you can go and get reports out of this. So you can produce reports from all this metadata from your project. So as you can see, there's a lot of stuff being built in here specifically for running large projects. I mean, we've just been looking at a little one here with what we've got a surveyor, design, an engineer, and a structural engineer with the base of the platform there, wanting to work and coordinate together. It's designed, of course, for much larger projects, and that's what has been in the building industry. The architects, structural engineers, etc., have been working on this for many years and come up with this project, and now we've got access to it as well in the civil sphere through our civils folders here. So what I'd like to ask at this point in time, as we're just about up for time, is are there any questions? I'm going to have a look in the questions in the chat, the Q&A here. If you've got any, put them in. I think most of these have been answered already by the other people as we've been going through. Not seeing any extra ones coming up. Put them in there if you want to ask a question in the next minute or so. But otherwise, if not, if you want to ask questions later on, we can go through or you can go through and contact info@a2ktoechnologies.com.au, and they can put you in touch with the correct person to answer those questions for you. Oh, there's another one come up here. What is the standard used for the configuration of the system? You're meaning an international standard, perhaps? I'm not sure I'm the right person to answer that for you. Yeah, international system. I don't have the answer to that, but if you like, I'll grab, I should be able to get your email here, I think, off the system. And I have one of the guys who actually specialised in the BIM Collaborate to answer that one for you. Me personally, I'm just an engineer. I'm not one of our BIM specialists. But as you can see, I've found my way around this without too much difficulty. But I'm by no means yet an expert. So what I'll do is Hugh, I'll get one of our BIM specialists to answer that one for you, and they can we'll be able to drill down any further questions that you might have as well. If that works for you. All right, I think that's the only questions we have there. So thank you for tuning in to this webinar, and have a good afternoon, or well, it's getting to late afternoon here. I'm New Zealand based, but do have a good one, and we'll hopefully see you back here on another one of these webcasts. Thanks for tuning in.